I had made some money, but didn't know how to make the money work for me. And the only way I've ever really made money is by putting it into my own business. And I'm getting to that point in my life where I want to do other things than pour all my money back into my own business where things are relying upon what I do. And so when I saw what he does, I wanted to know more. So reached out.
Yeah, it's very common for entrepreneurs to build a business, with sweat equity, with hard work, with 10, 20 years and just constantly grinding 70, 80-hour weeks. And as you finally start making profit and more cash, you pour it back into your business, but the business is still solely dependent on who you are, what you do, how you show up, how you sell, how you operate, how you reach out, how you market. And that business is destined to fail eventually because you're going to get burned out. And even if you have a lot more money, if you've been doing it for 20 years, you don't want to do it anymore. And that's the challenge a lot of people, like really myself and Spencer, will eventually run into if you only have that line of thinking.
Well, let me say one other component of this was from the coaching perspective. I had been working in the coaching space for a number of years and frankly was just a little bit burned out on the way it was. I felt like there's a lot of coaches out there who will get you real motivated and hyped up, and they'll take a lot of money for what they do, and it's really just mindset. They're going to help you with your mindset, which is valuable, it's vital, it's important, but it wears off after a period, and then there you are back at where you were before with a lot less money in the bank. And when I talked to Jeremy about what he does, it was kind of the opposite. He wasn't trying to sell me mindset. He was trying to fill up my bank account. And then I learned that the mindset's equally as important in this space, but he was helping me make money along the way as opposed to just paying for something and sending me off along my way, hoping I do well.
Well, so the good news is, as Spencer said, he had made some money, right? And so I generally do, just because I've been in the industry 20 years, well, if you don't have money, I'm just going to help you for free. But if you have money, you understand how the value of time and money, and you have money. When you have money, specifically $100,000 or more, now you have more dollars than days left to live. So you have to spend it to accelerate. If you have no money, you have to spend time. So with Spencer, he had a bunch of different investments, and he wanted to learn how to leverage those investments to obviously create more. Every man or woman watching this wants more in their life. And they want more so they can have more time with their family. They can travel more. They can be a better husband or a wife. They can be better as a human, and they can give more. That's why they want to make more, those components. And so ultimately, that is what prosperity is, right? Prosperity is having the physical and tangible and mental and emotional and spiritual components so that ultimately you have peace, you have joy, you have fulfillment, you have happiness, but you have it often. Not like when you're in a conference for 2 hours, but you have it daily, weekly, monthly. It's a very constant part of your being. And so really, we just tactically started working on the buttons. That's why I told him, I was like, listen, man, there are buttons. And that's the one thing that makes me stand out from every other coach literally on planet Earth. And I've worked with all of them. I've spent over $3 million in the last 7-8 years working with coaches, the greatest coaches in the world that people would recognize all over social media. They do teach the mindset, the go do this and spend this time with people and interact with these instruments. It's like, yeah, I know that though. I think most people, if you spend any amount of money with coaching, like, how do I do it? How is a lot different than you should. I was like, I understand I should. Like that'd be fantastic if I just clicked my finger because I was smart and I wanted to make more money. There are certain buttons you have to press. Great example. If you have someone in your phone and you know that person has $3 million liquid sitting in their bank account, and you have an investment opportunity that would fit exactly what they need, you have to call them on the phone. That requires certain buttons to press to talk to the particular person. To create more money and do it quickly and easily requires certain buttons. So we just really worked on the tactical approach for him regarding crypto investing, stock investing, the actual mechanics of it for the first 2 or 3 months, along with mindset. Because one of my mentors taught me, with new levels come new devils. And so he was in a space now where he has 6-7 figures liquid that's kind of floating around out there that's a little scary. And without knowing what to do, there's what I refer to as an adjustment period. And the adjustment period is that first 3 months. When you start interacting with money, but you do it so fast and so quick, there's so many changes and there's so much velocity that you become overwhelmed. And there was these really cool shifting mechanisms that we both experienced together.
Yeah, I will say when I signed up, I thought it was all about the mechanics and where to buy, where to sell. Once it started, I realized, as good as I felt like I was in certain components of my life with mindset, whoa, did I have a long way to go on the financial. And so started with the buttons and understanding how to place the orders and how to read the markets and which lines to buy off of and sell off of. And once I started to understand that, I realized I need to understand how money flows and how it works, because I think I have a lot of friends like this too, where it got almost like I was watching a basketball game and cheering for my investment and treating it like it was going to win or lose within a certain amount of time. And when you do that, like I had in the past, you make mistakes. And having Jeremy there as a coach and as a mentor to talk me off the ledge, slow me down, calm me down, and help me to understand it, the mindset had to shift there too. It's not what I signed up for, but it's exactly what I got. And I think that's another one of the things that sets him apart from every coach on the planet. He not only teaches the buttons, he's able to ask the questions and help see, okay, you got a problem right here. You've got a problem with, you've lost today and now you're going to try to get it all back like you're at a casino. It's not how this works. There's a flow, there's a rhythm to it. And understanding that rhythm and understanding myself, because I was completely, again, I just put my money back in my own companies. I was completely unaware of how I would react in a high pressure situation with a lot of money in a stock.
Yeah.
And I didn't like how I reacted. And I needed somebody there to help me say, well, hold on, this is part of it. And now it's kind of fun.
Well, the truth is, man, I like how you use the word understand, because for everyone watching, the word understanding, to his perspective, if his vision was, he calls me, I say, do this, and he makes millions. Now, the funny part is,
what's supposed to happen?
I told him, do this, but he didn't have the understanding of why he should, because he hadn't experienced it yet. So he hadn't experienced the flows. He had only experienced the ebbs, right? Because in markets, there's ebbs and flows. So flows, there's peaks, there's valleys, there's mountains, there's troughs. With liquid markets, you're going to have the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. He had only experienced this. And the beautiful part is, if you don't understand for yourself, meaning you don't go through it, even if someone tells you exactly what to do, you'll still be too afraid to do it yourself, which is fine. But now that you've seen it, experience it, and now understand it, it's much easier. Now I can literally tell him what to do and he'll do it no problem, because he understands that there's going to be these fluctuations and these shifts. But that's only through experience, right? You put yourself in the battleground and you got punched in the mouth and you survived.
Well, I will say, people who get into this space and you make an investment, you hire a coach, and then you've got all your background and experience that comes with you. And to overcome that and just get to a point where you're like, okay, this guy knows more than me. I'm just going to listen, but my livelihood's on the line. It's hard to deprogram. And Jeremy is so good at being patient and calm, because there was a time there in the beginning, I was like, he's just going to fire me as a client, because I couldn't do it. I can't let go of this one thing as though it was a member of my family or something. And then once I learned painfully that there is a flow, there is an ebb, there is a flow. You need to protect your downside. You need to be smart about the investing, and it's not always going to be a rocket ship to the moon. And while I knew that, emotionally, I couldn't figure it out until I went through it, and I had a mentor and a coach to walk me through that in a very kind, loving, non-judgmental way, show me. And I'm eternally grateful that it has gone this way. I needed that experience. For those of you who are looking into coaching, and if you have the ability and are blessed enough to hire Jeremy, I would strongly advise you not to do what I did in the early. Don't listen to your emotions. Listen to him because he does know. But he was patient and kind and walked me through it. And now I'm in a completely different place.
Would you, with your background in sports, would you consider it to be like great college athlete, first, top 10 draft pick, goes into it, has a coach, goes all the way to the championship game and then loses, even though that person had the ball and lost in the last 5 to 10 seconds? Would you say that every single incredible, successful athlete had crazy losses at some point, even though they had a coach and the coach told them exactly what to do, and they probably didn't, or they tried and couldn't pull it off? Do you think that you have to lose in order to win?
I do now. Yeah, I do. But coming into this, I had an expectation that now I've hired a wealth coach who's really good at what he does and isn't necessarily inexpensive. So this is all going to work out for me. I needed to go through that. Yes, I needed to go through it to truly appreciate and understand it, because if all you do is ride a rocket ship to the top, you don't truly learn. That adversity helped. But
yeah. Well, this would be a fun question for you spiritually. Why do you think the soul needs to experience hardship?
It's the only way to get stronger. Why does a muscle need to tear to grow?
Right? Because if you ask God to get stronger, do you get more muscles?
You're going to push against a rock for a while first.
Yeah. And eventually the rock will move, but you got to push.
Yeah.
And so realistically, for every interaction, and all of us have had coaches our whole lives, but that's why also that he's a multimillionaire in business and real estate and other parts of his life, is because you have done the work. It was just this one component is just totally brand new. And that particular component's also faster, right? The stock market and the crypto market and the options market is so much faster than real estate and business. It's a lever that you touch a button, and within minutes, you've seen a result.
And you have less control of the outcome. You can make the right decision, the right call at the right time, and sometimes it's still you can do everything perfectly and it still might go the other way, and it's not necessarily like
for a time
that
period.
in business. Yeah, for a time period.
Yeah.
But knowing that and then being able to understand it and be patient really helps to make it not only bearable but enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah. You see the opportunity in everything when you go down this road, the way that we have gone.
So I'll say this because it shifted my mindset and gave me so much perspective early in my life. 90% of millionaires are made through real estate, but 100% of billionaires are made through equities. That's a very large number, right? So when I say equities, I'm referring to the ownership, the sharing of values of companies. And what I told Spencer early on is me and him are both very good at business, but Apple does $90 million of net profit an hour. So we're not that good at business. So why shouldn't we then just take our money and learn how to interact with Apple or Tesla or Google or Amazon, some of the biggest companies in the world, because that's your entrance into the market. So like once you understand those movements and you understand the math, and again, you understand the buttons of entry, exit, target, then you have the ability to also start zooming out and playing with the more volatile, the more newer, the more unique instruments, so you can also increase your capital exponentially. And then at the same time, every single coach, as it relates to finance, they generally tell you to think in decades. I think decades is a very long time, 20, 30, 40 years. I don't want to wait that long for him to take 3 million and turn into 10, right? I want to do it in 3 years, not 30 years, right? 3 years is 3 years, 30 years is 3 decades. So I teach people, don't think in minutes, think in months. Most financial coaches say, don't think in days, think in decades. So months is a lot shorter, but when you deal with shorter time constriction, you're going to deal with more fear, because things have to happen faster for you to get the same result. And speed is something, and height. Speed and height are both two aspects that always scare the human psyche.
Well, Well, one of the things you said, I don't mean to cut you off, but one of the things you said to me was early when I was going through the fear, you know, one of my investments dropped and it dropped hard and how I reacted to it. I remember you said the stock market is, it exposes a lot about you that you might not even know. And I did not know. I considered myself a very calm and strategic investor, a calm and strategic family man. I don't yell at my kids.
Yeah, you're a great dad.
I calm. But man, it exposed this component of me that I didn't know existed. And having a coach that walked me through that was worth it alone, because I was in kind of a panic state. Anybody who has ever made a large investment and then just seen it drop, and then you start believing in your mind, oh, well, I'm just snake bit. I have bad luck. And then somehow you start attracting bad luck, and it's a spiral. And I got into the spiral and had a coach who was like, no, hold on. Change my language, help me to change the way I viewed the entire situation. And I went from being this panic-stricken worrywart to one who's like, when the market goes down, that's awesome. Because now there's opportunity to make more because it's going to go back.
Shift the mindset. What would you say, Spence? Like, it's been 6 months, man, believe it or not. Crazy.
That's fast.
It is fast, right? What would you say is your biggest takeaway? The number one you can just give to everyone for free. You spent hundreds of thousands for it, actually millions. Millions. Oh, give it to them for free.
Oh, biggest takeaways. I think, honestly, it's the opposite of what I thought I was signing up for. I think that if you're not prepared, if your mindset is not right and ready, you might make a ton of money, but you might not keep it. But if you're prepared, then the opportunities come. And if you get your mind right going into it, and you have a plan, and you stick to the plan, it's kind of like working out. You know, you can decide, I'm going to get on a strict diet plan, and I'm going to eat the right foods, and I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to do this workout. And if you do those things and you stick to them religiously, you are going to become physically fit and feel great and accomplish your goals. Not debatable. I think that's what your system is like. But if you sign up for a program and you're ready and you're gung-ho and you just got amped up on some coach who motivated you and got you excited, and you start, and then you see some cheesecake that you really want to eat.
It was so good, bro. I feel attacked.
Or some gelato in Croatia, and you get a little bit derailed, then the results don't come, and you can spiral. And exact same thing happens in the financial world, and it happens fast. It happens faster than you gain weight, actually. And if you don't have somebody there, somebody like Jeremy, who can walk you through and help you to see what you can't see. There are so many things that I did early on my own outside of Jeremy's coaching that, and again, it was never like, you idiots. But it was always, let me explain why we don't do this right here. Oh, that's why. Okay. It's not bad to eat a carb, but you don't eat carbs right before you go to bed. You know, it's like, it's okay to invest in this thing, but you don't want to invest in it right here. And you start to learn the flow of that. And then you start to gain confidence, just like you do in the gym, and you get in better shape. And then things start to take off in the right direction. And it goes really fast. The way he coaches and the instruments that he guides you to invest in, it goes pretty quick.
Yeah. I'll end with this. You know, when I was chatting with him, he used 2 phrases early in our conversations and coaching that he's like, I don't want to worry about money, and I want to have enough money so that I can be able to retire and travel and just be with my kids and be with my wife. And I started trying to dive in on what the word retirement meant for him. And it was very hazy and grainy and ugly and gross and non-fulfilling and non-exciting. And he didn't want to retire.
It was dying.
Right. But you didn't want to retire. But your brain was programmed that if I have whatever $8 million, then I retire and then I will die, I guess. So your subconscious was saying, I'm not going to let you retire because you don't want to retire. And if retire had a number, aka 8 million, and you didn't want to ever hit that because you don't want to actually retire, then you're not going to get the money. That's what happens when a subconscious barrier occurs. And then at the same time, right, the be able to, right? I want to be able to spend time with my kids. I want to be able to travel with my wife. I want to be able, I'm like, you're able now, like you have the money. And so I asked him, what was that word? And the best part was he already had the company. He already had the company name. He already had the idea. And it was just so cool when you sent that. It made me really smile at that moment because I'm like, oh, wait a minute. He's now finally seeing the company that he's building is attached to his purpose, which is attached to the end result. Because to me, expansion means always growing, right? Like the universe is expanding and it's doing it infinitely. And if you're doing anything that's infinite, that means that you're getting close to God. And expansion, that's really what ultimately it is getting close as possible to God, to know, fully see, understand, and feel that presence and that love. And as you expand, knowing that your entire life is attached to that purpose and feeling pulled by it, because it's much easier to be pulled by your purpose than pushed by your pain.
Eternal expansion. That's the game. And when I signed up, it was about trading some stocks and some crypto.
Love you, bro. Thank you, family, for tuning in.